Springers are alright, but so annoying when you need to load each pellet every time you break the barrel. But hang on, there's always the Crosman Trailhawk multi-shot. Hello and welcome to AAR on Air. This week is the turn of the Crosman Trailhawk, a break barrel but with the added benefit of a 10-round magazine system that takes the effort out of reloading a pellet every time. The nitro piston multi-shot break barrel rifle from Crosman is 1150mm or 45¼ inches long and tips the scales unscoped at 3.37 kilograms or 7 pounds 7 ounces. It's worth just giving you the scoped weight too, because this one came with a 3 to 9x40 AO scope. With this fitted, it tips the scales at 3.97 kilograms or 8 pounds 12 ounces. Just whilst we're on the subject of included scope, this one is a pretty decent starter scope and is focusable, which helps take out the parallax issues associated with an ultra budget freebie scope. It will also, in theory, focus down as low as 5 yards. This comes with a one-piece mount and is a wire reticle without any holdover or hold-under points. It will get you off the mark and work perfectly well at your 0 point. I'm not sure about its overall longevity, with it being wire on a springer though. This is, however, a gun review, not a scope review, but because it's included, then I thought it was worth the mention. The Trailhawk I have here is a nice ambidextrous beach stock item and is in a 2.2 caliber, and I must admit it is quite nicely finished off and feels very comfortable. There is a light checkering to the stock's grip and forestock with a rubberized butt pad. There's no adjustable cheek riser, but this is a budget rifle, and as I've already said, it is quite nice and comfortable. The barrel has an oversized plastic shroud on it, and there's no thread though to add a silencer of any sort. It does have quite a loud rapport, but not ridiculously loud, and shouldn't annoy any neighbours too much, unless they're very fussy on the local council and walk around with a permanent look of a strange smell under their nose and a clipboard to hand to make constant notes. You know the sort. This does have open front sights that are non-adjustable, but this is mated up with the fully adjustable rear sights, which are adjustable for windage and elevation. Not bad for a rifle that has already given you a starter scope in the box as well. The top rail on this rifle is dovetail, as is traditional on this type of gun, and has the slot for the scope's retaining pin to stop any scope creep. One thing to point out here is the scope I received was pre-fitted with the one-piece mount, which is quite nice, but the pin needed winding out, so this mount needed to be removed and then refitted. Just a note for the newbies who will wonder why their scope keeps trying to throw itself off the back of the rifle. I must say the action on cocking is really very smooth and easy. It does feel like a far more expensive gun than it actually is. At this point in time, it's worth looking at the Trailhawk's party piece, the 10-round magazine system. The magazine does actually have 11 slots, but don't get carried away and start filling them all up and posting a comment that you can get 11 rounds in yours, because the 11th slot is to be left empty so you can fit this into the mechanism on the rifle. To load this, you need the magazine window facing you. Then drop the first pellet in head first. Then rotate in the direction shown by the arrow. Pop in the next one and repeat. Until all of them are filled up, apart from the last one. Once you've got this all the way round to 0 on the window, stop. Don't drop a pellet in because this needs to be left free to allow you to slot the magazine into the breech, as it were. Simple as that. From here on in, you simply use this like any other break barrel rifle, and it will pop the pellets into the barrel for you directly from the magazine, saving you all that fiddling about with small pellets on a cold day trying to load them into the back of the barrel. The trigger is a two-stage item and is actually adjustable. The safety is an in-trigger item and is very a la Gammo style, with pull back to put into safe and push forward to fire. I found it quite comfortable to use and not too obtrusive, and can easily be operated with your trigger finger without any fear of accidentally pulling the trigger. So let's look at power levels now, shall we? The first thing to highlight here is this needs around 100 shots to get it to settle down and stop it from possible dieseling, which will affect your accuracy and power levels. But with that done, over the chronograph using standard 15.89 grain pellets, 0.22 caliber lead ones, it saw 566 feet per second, which is 11.31 foot-pounds of 15.33 joules, which is more than enough for whatever you may want this Trailhawk to do: target, pest control, or simply plinking. With the supplied scope fitted, it is time to get this out on the range and for me to try and get used to springers again. Here goes. The Crosman Trailhawk. I'm just going to try and load some pellets up while I tell you about it. This is the wooden stock version, which I personally quite like, but I am quite a fan of traditional wooden stocks rather than a lot of the tactical ones. It does have a couple of siblings which are more along the tactical style, and they will be being reviewed at a future date. I've got a couple of those as well. Springers. Now, I'm not normally a Springer man. I know I make the excuse every single time, but it's one of those things that I shoot on very rare occasions. And of course, you're then picking up a completely different gun. So am I going to do this gun justice? Probably not. And that's not a go to say how good or bad I am. It's just a case of I'd try to do the guns justice. Now, a regular Springer, that's so easy. A regular Springer user would probably blind this all day long. It's not got a huge kick to it. It's full power. It feels really quite nice, very traditional. Now, this scope that's on it, I quite like simply because it's got a focus ring. Is it the best scope? No, it's not the best scope. It's still a starter scope, but it's just a little bit better than the very basic starter scopes. Personally, if I was having it, I would still put some better optics on it. But we're going to use it. Somebody's building something somewhere. We're going to drive what we brung, as it were. Now, the one thing to point out is this is really very smooth and easy to operate. It's surprisingly smooth for what is essentially a budget gun. Still very nice. It is very smooth action, so I quite like that. The whole thing, really, I do quite like, even though I'm a non-Springer shooter. I mean, for somebody to start with, I think this is absolutely top drawer, to be honest. How accurate it is, I don't know. This is a 2.2. We're right out at some decent distances. It is bitter cold today. My fingers have gone blue, as well as the coat. No, but it's gone blue. It really is cold. And there is a northerly wind coming this way. It's not moving any leaves around because there aren't any, but by heck, it's cold, as they say in Yorkshire. Right, let's give it a go. Enough said. Super smooth to do, and you're not messing about trying to put pellets in individually each time. Shooting over to the left, I think. I don't think that's too bad, to be fair. For, I say, first time use, first time I picked it up, it's only very roughly zeroed. And a Springer. The money on this is not a lot. You're not going to be spending an absolute fortune. The kids aren't going to starve. And it is a nice, it's solid, but it's not weighty. It's not too heavy. It's nice. It's got in-trigger safety, which I quite like. I just wish I could feel my fingers today. So there you go, not too loud. I quite like it. Yeah, back to the studio. As always, I worry about shooting break barrels and Springers because I shoot them so infrequently. But I always seem to enjoy my time with them. It takes me back to when I started shooting, probably. Good fun and very enjoyable. Time to talk price then, really. This Crosman multi-shot Trailhawk will cost you around £270 UK as a package and is available in 22 or 177 calibers. At this money, it's not expensive to my mind for a break barrel and seems really good value when you consider this is also a 10-round multi-shot nitro piston break barrel kit. In these times of watching your pennies, I consider this a really good piece of kit for not a lot of money. I realise that's subject to individuals' budgets, but I've been charged more than that for around 6 hours work from an electrician who thought he was doing me a big favour. The multi-shot system from Crosman seems to have been kept simple and yet works efficiently. And they've also dropped this system into two other rifles, the Mission and the Diamondback. And I've got both of these for testing as well. So I will pop out another review of those in a later programme, which means now would be a good time to subscribe if you haven't and click the alarm notification bell so you don't miss any of the future reviews. Whilst you're busy clicking, don't forget to hit the like button and take a look at all this little lot. And of course, there's the AAR On Air website for merchandise and lots more. As always, a huge thank you to the guys at Vector Air for their help, and a thank you to Jake for pulling the right strings. Thank you, Jake. The biggest thanks goes out, as always, to you guys for watching and supporting the channel. Please stay safe and shoot safe, and hopefully I'll see you all next week. It's nice. Bye for now.